And welcome back to The Gist. I'm joined by Father Casey Cole and Father Tito Serrano, and we are talking about your baseball tour this summer. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. How fun.
So you guys are the Bleacher Brothers.
Absolutely.
We are, yes.
How did you come up with this, first of all? And tell me a little bit about the planning that went into your stadium tour.
It's been a long time in the making, actually. So we were novices, which is the second year as Friars in our formation. And we were told by one of the guys that we needed to find a way to be like St. Francis in the world. That he didn't just go to the churches, he went to the city streets, to the marketplaces, to meet people where they were. And so we thought about it for a little while, and we thought, well, where do 20, 30, 40,000 people gather each summer night? Baseball stadiums. What if we wore our habits and met people where they were?
And when did you come up with this? When you were novices? So how many years ago was that?
8 years ago.
8 years ago. So this is many years in the making.
Yes.
A lot of sleepless nights dreaming about it.
Mm-hmm.
And here you are. So you both played baseball growing up. You both love baseball. I know you both have thrown out the first pitch.
Yeah.
What is that like, being at a major league stadium?
It's hard to put into words. There's a lot of excitement, adrenaline. There's a lot of fear. If
You mess up?
yeah, exactly. Don't want to mess up.
What we found after the fact, though, when we watched other people do it, is that no one's really watching, which is sad. But
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I don't know why we were nervous.
So it takes the pressure off
Yeah.
a little bit.
You only end up on TV if you do something terrible.
Yeah, right, exactly. So what was it like as far as your first reception, when people saw you at the very first game? What was that like?
It's all over the place. We expected some people to think that we're cosplaying, that we're dressed up like Jedi or some conventions in town. So we tell them, no, we're actually real priests.
It's not
We
Halloween.
get people to say, oh, you must be Padres fans. And like, no, they're actually fans of us. Thank you. But we get a lot of people who are Catholic, who are discerning, who are struggling with their faith, who are now energized by conversations with us. And that's been really surprising and really fruitful, of just saying, like, yeah, now you go. You be missionaries in your own parish.
And how about you, Father?
Similar to all of that, I mean, they do ask constantly about the Padres, whether we're Padres fans or if it's Star Wars night. And we just try to encounter them wherever they are. We have our responses ready for those now because we've heard it so many times. But yeah, it's about meeting people where they are at the level that they're at.
And it's a different way to evangelize, certainly, because they're like, oh, wait a second, are those guys priests walking into the baseball stadium? And hey, they're throwing out the first pitch as well. So that's a really neat way of just bringing Jesus, just to everyday life. Tell me about the favorite stadium that you've visited.
There's so many good ones. I don't think there's a bad one, really. I mean, there are some that get criticized more than others, and there are certainly worse ones than others, but there's always something interesting about each one. That said, I love the older styles that have made new, where you've got kind of a wide format, you have a nice skyline, you have a big deck that you can have people can engage and talk. So things like Pittsburgh have been great, Baltimore have been great, and then obviously Fenway and Wrigley, and the classic ones are fantastic. Yeah.
Excellent. And you played baseball all through high school and in college as well.
Played club baseball in college,
Yeah. And your mother finally saw you hit a home run, right?
Yeah, so it's funny. She never saw me play well for whatever reason. I don't think it was nerves. I never even knew she was there, but she saw me hit a home run in college once, and we have it on video of her saying, "There it is, finally."
Finally.
And this is a family joke, yeah.
So there's proof of that. We'll have to show that video. So you're at Siena College.
Yes.
And you're at a high school in Georgia. Tell me the name of the high school again.
Mount DeSales Academy.
How is it, interacting with young people? They obviously probably are following you, because I know you have a big social media presence as well. So they know that you guys are on tour this summer. How is that reacting with them?
It's been really interesting because a lot of them are very confused at first. They go, well, how does this relate to ministry? And the perfect thing is that Siena is a liberal arts college. So I'm trying to model for them sort of a broader way of thinking. How do we change a focused look into, oh, I do ministry, but I also try to encounter people in the real world. And baseball stadiums are the real world. And I mean, there's other places too. And so understanding that you don't have to approach things in just one way has been really important for the example that I'm trying to set for them and our model of being religious.
Yeah, we like to specialize and compartmentalize in our society, and certainly students are doing that, think of their majors and the things they're good at, and then they forget everything they're not. But you can't compartmentalize God. And so, sure, we're priests, so we should be in the church, but we should also be in the city square as well. and they can do so as well. Make every moment a graced moment.
And we also need Jesus in baseball, of course.
Exactly.
As a mom who has 3 sons who
That's
have
right.
played baseball, right? I love to see them do the sign of the cross before which I would totally do if I was going up to bat, for sure. You also wrote a book. Tell me a little bit about your book, Living Radical Hope in a World of Division and Despair.
Yeah, The Way of Beatitude. Just a reflection of our world and my own reflections over the last couple of years of praying with the Beatitudes. I think we like them a lot, at least in theory. We think that they're nice and sweet and God is going to give us all these things. But the reality is that they're afflictions. Nobody likes poverty. No one likes to be persecuted. And Jesus is saying, embrace them. And I think if you look at our world, we see 2 options. We have division, which is double down on the people who hate us, and so let's hate them back. Or despair, which is, I can't do anything about it, so I'll just shrivel up and die. What if we engaged with this affliction and we said, you know what, there might be an opportunity to be peacemakers, to find some good even in this evil, that we can bring reconciliation to the world.
And I know that your social media presence, and you both are on a podcast together. I know you're on YouTube, TikTok too.
Yes, I have. I run our vocation office TikTok, Be a Franciscan, and I just try to kind of do humorous videos. What are the trends going on, and then put a little religious or Franciscan spin on it.
Okay.
It's the same as the marketplace. We need to be where people are. Yeah. So that's how I got onto YouTube 7 years ago. Begrudgingly got onto Instagram and now TikTok. We just know that that's where people need to engage religion.
And Facebook is like way passé, right?
we know there are some people
just
there.
For the old, just for me. But it's breaking in the habit. Is that where we could find more information about both of you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can find out about our tour at breakinginthehabit.org or bleacherbrothers.org.
Is there any stadium that has like better food than others?
Yes. Which ones? I can't remember. Okay. But yes, for sure.
You're always taken care of. Excellent. If you had any advice for moms of sons, right? Just because you're here, I might as well ask you, how would you encourage moms to pray about vocations or just pray for their sons in particular, to stay close to Christ? It's a hard one. And both of your parents did quite well, I would say.
Sure. They'll be happy to hear that. Yes.
Yeah. Well done.
I always look to St. Monica and her faithfulness and just trusting that it's outside of her hands. She prayed and prayed for her son Augustine, who was not going the right way. And ultimately, it wasn't her. It was God that did it. And so I think knowing what is ours to do and then letting go and letting God do the rest. And
would you agree? Do you have any particular saints that you would throw out there? Or?
St. Monica is a good one for sure. What drew me to St. Francis was the difficulty in the relationship he had with his father. I think looking at the saints where there is mention of a relationship with their parents is a good way to go. But I think the important thing is, my mother always told me, whenever I said, I want to do this, I want to do that. And like many kids, I changed professions on a daily basis. I wanted to be a professional baseball player, a scientist, an astronaut. I would just say, my mom would just say, as long as it's God will, then go for it. And so that always left that kind of voice in my head.
That support. Yeah.
Whatever, I can do whatever I want, and you just seek out God's will.
And here you are doing God's will and loving every second of it, right, with baseball. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you, and God bless.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.